I've done it all. I've did the drugs. I've been with men. I've been with women, and all of it comes out. And
Are you
until
serious?
Juanita Bynum, a televangelist, defends her $1,500 prayer course by saying, "This is not some cheap base program." Defending her $1,499.99 price tag for a 4-week intensive prayer course and citing her decades of expertise as a minister of the gospel. Televangelist and self-described prophetess Juanita Bynum called the online criticism she has been receiving about an insult. "I won't even bring up the price because I'd be insulting myself. It's an insult to who I am after being in ministry for more than 50 years and having spent at least 35 plus years doing nothing but being a pioneer in the areas of prayer and helping people understand prayer and letting them watch me doing it so that they can know that there are different dimensions and different levels to prayer," the 63-year-old Bynum said in a Facebook Live broadcast last Thursday. "And how am I aware that there are various levels and dimensions? It's really quite easy. It's known as outcomes. You can tell someone is doing what they are doing when you see the outcomes. And I want to accomplish it," Bynum said. At an undisclosed site in Atlanta, Georgia, the course, which begins on October 6th, will have room for 150 students and 7 sessions of rigorous instruction lasting 2 hours each. A tote bag, a binder, a prayer shawl, sacred anointing oil, and a coat with Bynum at the conclusion of each lecture session are also provided to course participants. The course $1,499.99 price tag, which is a discount from its typical $1,999.99 pricing, was referred to as outrageous by Chicago-based online preacher in U.S. "I am aware that some pastors dislike what I do since I teach everything for which they charge for free. I want to know what you guys think about this." More than 3,700 comments and emoji replies were left on the post, both in support of and opposition to Rogers' viewpoint. In a Facebook video, comedian Wellington Juku made fun of the fact that when he initially learned about Bynum's prayer course, he mistakenly believed she was teaching classes on her OnlyFans page. The prayer course taught by Juanita Bynum. Although Bynum stated in her address that the course is a component of the launch for her prayer institute, some critics have equated the course to a prayer meeting. A letter from Bynum. "This is not a low-cost class where we'll be in there swinging from chandeliers and lecturing you on some Bible verses, calling that a school of prayer. No, we're going to school and learning everything I can instill in you in the next 14 hours. I'm going to give it my all," said Bynum. "The revival is not this." She responded, "Those who have complained that I am charging to pray. This is not a prayer meeting. I don't believe anyone can call me charging you to pray for you during all of these years that you have seen me praying, laying on the floor, completing the completionist course for 30 days in a row, and conducting 5 in prayer on social media. That is absurd. It's really absurd, especially considering how much money I've given away over the past few years while traveling and ministering. I've been preaching at conferences for years without accepting a dime, and I have a ton of letters to prove it." According to Bynum, she will be covering prophetic dreams in the course as well as teaching students how to operate in the prophetic understanding, how to hear from God, how to separate your emotions from what God is saying, and how to be able to determine whether or not that is really a word from the Lord. It will be a challenging lesson that is not for the weak of heart. Not a class for those who just want to veg out while playing with their phones and eating bubble gum. You'll need to stay attentive and pay attention because you'll be able to take some of the techniques I'm teaching you and teach them at your prayer meeting when you leave. Teach them to your church and to your prayer group, she advised. She claimed that during the course of the previous 14 years, God had also guided her into a study of the brain and demonstrated to her how prayer might be used to bring order to the brain. "What the Lord began to teach me is how to bring order to the brain so that when you get in prayer, you know what portion of your brain is either being assaulted or either being intercepted as to why you can't achieve a breakthrough in prayer because the mind must be involved," stated Bynum. "This is a level discussion of how the brain works during prayer. Where in the brain does prayer have an effect? What you can do, and these are things I walk through and put into practice in my personal walk with God to prevent those interruptions. Therefore, when I pray, I never question if my prayers will be heard, whether they will be effective, or whether I will receive the results I'm praying for," the televangelist said. "You'll have to attend class to find out what else is occurring as a result of that. But I also know what else is happening if the results of my prayers are not what I'm hoping for." Bynum gained notoriety after delivering the No More Sheets lecture at the 1997 Woman Thou Art Loose conference hosted by Bishop T.D. Jakes. She spoke about her struggle with her sexuality and her desire for a husband during that sermon. The empty sex she experienced with men, according to her, was all on the bed sheets. She questioned the other ladies at the conference. Why am I not married? I find it extremely difficult to listen to anyone preach to me about being single when they have a pair of thighs in their bed every night. And you keep telling me to hold on, honey, stay there by yourself. And you going home to big old muscles and thighs. I want to hear hold on from somebody that understands my struggle. Bynum was no longer main speaker at the conference by around 2002, the year she wed the Reverend Thomas W. Weeks, because of tension in her marriage to Jakes. 5 years later, following a confrontational beating in an Atlanta parking lot, Bynum and Weeks decided to get a divorce. Later, in 2012, she admitted to using narcotics and having relationships with people of the same gender. I've gone there and completed every task. I used drugs and have dated both men and women. On Frank and Wanda in the Morning, she added, all of it radio broadcast. I assumed full responsibility in every situation because I didn't have a pistol pointed at my head when I made decisions. I didn't have the intelligence to make those decisions. Please like, comment, and subscribe.